This is the complete guide to the Hong Kong BNO visa in 2026. I am covering who qualifies, both routes under the scheme, what you can and cannot do, the financial requirements, the settlement and citizenship timeline, and, importantly, the English language rules that specifically do not apply to this route. Everything in this video is taken directly from the official gov.uk guidance, specifically Appendix Hong Kong British National, Overseas, in the Immigration, Rules, and the Accessible BNO Route Guidance published by the Home Office. Section 1. What the BNO route is and who it is for. The BNO route is a UK immigration route specifically for Hong Kong British National, Overseas, status holders, and certain family members. BNO status is held by people who are British nationals, overseas, under the Hong Kong British Nationality Order, 1986. The route gives BNO status holders and qualifying family members the right to live, work, and study in the UK. It is not a temporary arrangement. It is explicitly designed as a pathway to settlement and ultimately to British citizenship. There are two routes within the BNO scheme: the BNO status holder route and the BNO household member route. Understanding which route each family member falls under is critical, and getting it wrong is the most common family application error. Comment below right now. Are you applying as a BNO status holder yourself, as a family member of a status holder, or as an adult child on the household member route? I will tell you which route applies to you and what the specific rules are for your situation. Section 2. The BNO status holder route. The status holder route is for the BNO status holder themselves. To apply, you must be a British national, overseas, under the 1986 order, you must be 18 or over, and you must be ordinarily resident in Hong Kong, the UK, or the Crown Dependencies, which includes Guernsey, Jersey, and the Isle of Man. A dependent partner can apply on this route alongside the status holder if the relationship requirements are met. A dependent child can also apply. In some cases, other family members with a high degree of dependency on the status holder may also qualify. For entry clearance, applying from Hong Kong, you must normally be ordinarily resident in Hong Kong on the date of application. For permission to stay, extending, or switching from inside the UK, you must be in the UK and ordinarily resident in the UK or a Crown dependency. Section 3. The BNO household member route. The household member route is primarily for adult children of a BNO status holder or of the status holder's partner who were born on or after July 1st, 1997 and are aged 18 or over at the time of application. The timing and household rules on this route are strict. In some cases, the adult child must apply at the same time as the BNO status holder. If the status holder has already been granted permission and the adult child applies later, the eligibility rules are applied differently. Family members of BNO household members, including their partners and children, may also qualify in some circumstances. The permission end date for family members can sometimes align with the status holder's permission end date, so check this carefully when making a family application. Section 4. What you can and cannot do. On either the status holder or the household member route, you can work in the UK in almost any capacity. This includes employed work, self-employment, and voluntary work. You can study at any level. What you cannot do is access public funds. This applies to the status holder and to all family members on the route. Public funds include most welfare benefits, housing assistance, and tax credits. You also cannot work as a professional sports person, including as a sports coach. This restriction is standard across most UK immigration routes. Comment here. Have you had any questions about what you are permitted to do on the BNO visa that you have not been able to get a clear answer on? Tell me what the question is and I will answer it directly. Section 5. The financial requirement. The financial requirement works differently depending on how long you have been in the UK on a valid BNO permission. If you have lived in the UK for 12 months or more on a valid BNO permission, you normally meet the financial requirement automatically. No savings evidence required. If you are applying from outside the UK, entry clearance, or if you have been in the UK for less than 12 months, you must normally show that you can maintain and accommodate yourself without recourse to public funds for at least 6 months. The gov.uk guidance also allows for credible promises of future third-party support in some cases. Accommodation must not be overcrowded or in breach of public health regulations. If you are living with family or friends, a letter confirming the arrangement and the address details should be included in your application. Section 6. Application requirements. All BNO applications must be made online using the correct gov.uk form. You must pay the application fee and the immigration health charge unless you are exempt. You must provide biometrics when required. from April 2026. This can be done through the UKV IID Check app for most applications, and you must provide a passport or travel document that proves your identity and nationality. If your application does not meet the validity rules, for example, if the wrong form is used or a required document is missing, it can be rejected as invalid without being considered. A rejected application is not a refusal, but it delays your timeline and means you have to reapply with the correct information. Some applicants must provide a valid tuberculosis medical certificate if appendix tuberculosis applies to their application. The certificate must come from an approved center and be issued within the required time limit. Check the gov.uk appendix tuberculosis page to confirm whether this applies to you based on where you are applying from. If your application is refused, you can apply for administrative review under Appendix AR. This is not an appeal. It is a review of whether the caseworker made an error in applying the rules. If you believe the decision was wrong, you have a limited time window to request this review after receiving your refusal letter. Section 7. The Settlement and Citizenship Timeline. This section is the most important for anyone planning their long-term future in the UK. Permission under the BNO route is granted for either 30 months or 5 years, depending on which option you chose when applying. After completing the required period of residence in the UK, you become eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain. The ILR application for BNO holders follows the same core principles as other settlement routes: continuous residence, absence limits, the life in the UK test, and the English language requirement. However, and this is a critical point that is causing a lot of confusion in the community, the BNO route sits under Appendix Hong Kong British National Overseas, which is a completely separate appendix in the immigration rules. This means that rule changes affecting other settlement routes do not automatically apply to BNO holders. The B1 to B2 English language uplift that affected other settlement routes does not apply to the BNO route. Appendix HK remains separate. When you read about UK immigration rule changes, always check whether the change specifically references Appendix HK or the BNO route by name. If it does not, it almost certainly does not affect you. After ILR is granted, the 12-month clock for naturalization as a British citizen begins. The 12 months starts from the date on your ILR approval letter, not from the date you arrived in the UK, not from when you submitted your ILR application. The date printed on the letter is day 1. To summarize the full timeline, you apply for BNO permission, 30 months or 5 years. You complete the qualifying residence period. You apply for ILR. After 12 months of ILR, you apply for naturalization as a British citizen. From first entry to British citizenship, the minimum realistic timeline under this route is approximately 6 years for the 5-year permission option. Like and follow this channel for more visa tips.